What up, though? It's your boy Willie Stylez in the building. Welcome to tonight's show. Chevy, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. How are you doing this evening? I'm
All
sweaty.
right, all right. We are in the building. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Marvel's Loki, and we're going to do a review and a recap of episodes 4 and 5.
Yes.
We're going to try to get through both episodes. Last week I did a quick little teaser review and recap. I just talked about a couple little things. I think I kept it to about a half hour for last week's show. So, because I definitely want to have a better in-depth conversation with you about both episodes and go through that. So,
Yes.
let's get started because a lot to unpack here. The episode 4, which was the Nexus event episode, that one was, as I discussed last week, that one was, fairly packed with a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of things going on. We got to see a lot of the backstory for Sylvie. We got to understand the kind of the implication of the Nexus event for that Loki and Sylvie created during the Lamentus situation. And we also got to see some more of how the TVA works, things that they can do. And, we got left with a big cliffhanger at the end.
Oh, my God, yes.
Lots of stuff happened at the end of that episode. And I think we even got, we also got our first mid-credit scene as well that left us with another cliffhanger, a big revelation, but another cliffhanger as well.
Correct.
Next, so episode 4 last week, I gave it like a 6 or a 7 rating out of 10, feeling like it was very informative and kept the story going, and that it was better than not better than episode 3 in terms of action, but it had enough information in there to make it, enough suspense in there, revelations to make it a great episode still, and kind of still rank up there with that episode. What did you think about episode 4?
Episode 4 took me through it, okay?
Indeed.
That last 10 minutes. And then I was speechless before that end credit scene. I'm not even about to lie. I was sitting there. I was just...
Believe me, I was speechless, 2 or 3 times during that episode? Like, oh my God. Like,
I was just outdone.
Right.
Trauma. I was triggered. I triggered.
I thought about you a couple of times during an episode. I was like, somebody over there crying right now.
I was through all the emotions. My dog thought I was losing my mind. I was yelling at the top of my lungs. I got up. I threw the remote control. I was pissed. I was hurt. I was sad. I was mad. I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
Now, you watched it before we did episode 3's review, right?
No, actually, no.
Oh, you watched
it? I didn't.
Oh,
I watched it I watched it like that next day.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So we did watch it around the same time.
No, I watched it after we got done.
After we got done, yeah. Because I think you watched it. I started it, but I didn't finish it by the time you had finished it. And I think you shot me the message like.
Yeah, I was out of there. Even with the end credit scene, I was at that point. I was just like, okay, y'all didn't. Now I feel stupid.
Well, I you know me, I like to bring up old stuff and mention how I was right again.
Yeah, no, you were dead on with the Wizard of Oz. We did good.
Yeah,
we did.
between the there's something not right about this thing, as well as the pruning situation. I was like, okay, whew. I was very happy to see I was right.
Yeah.
So what would you rate episode 4?
I would say about a 7.
Okay. So we agree on that one. And then episode 5, should we go into episode 5 spoiler free, and then that way we can just do the whole 4 and 5 together in the recap?
We can.
Okay, all right. So episode 5, titled "Journey into Mystery," felt like it was like episode 1 all over again. Maybe episode 2 in terms of like how it was like not really, again, not a lot of action, not a lot of well, it was nothing slow about it though, because there was a lot to digest. They were throwing a lot of information at us. They were putting a lot on us, and we were trying to. I mean, Loki even was overwhelmed, right, with the situation. So there was a lot that we had to learn really quick. I would say that's the one time I realized, which I don't know why I didn't realize this in the first 4 episodes, that having 6 episodes was maybe just too short, because it felt like it was just, not that it was rushed. I commend Marvel for making this not feel rushed, but it felt like a lot all at once, because we were learning new things, getting a lot of revelations, being posed questions, and then answering them all at the same time throughout these episodes. And I felt like episode 5 really kind of like amplified that, because like you said, at the end of 4 we were like, okay, woo, great, we feel a little bit better about some of what's going on. But then episode 5 was like boom, 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 you got to learn this, and you got to learn that, and you got to learn about 6 new people, and you know what I mean? There was just so much going on.
But I posed the statement or question that, did they do that on purpose? Because Loki was thrust into a situation that he knew nothing about, and he had to just kind of get in where he fit in and pick up the information. So maybe they did that to make us feel whatever he was feeling.
See, this is why I needed you here last week. Because see, I don't be thinking like, everybody else, and like I take a lot for granted. I also interpret things really fast. So like my mind is moving so fast through things that I sometimes miss stuff. I pick up a lot of things, but then I miss a lot of things too, just thinking things or analyzing things from a perspective of, let's
comic book fan.
Back. Say it again.
A comic book fan.
Right. Yeah, true that. So there's, so there's some things that jumped out at me that I was just like, I know what that's about. I know what this is about, but then there was quite a few things that were like you just said, I didn't think about it like, yeah. I mean, I kind of said it a few minutes ago, but I still didn't get it, that they basically were putting us in Loki's shoes, like, feel how Loki feels. This is a lot to take in all at once for a person stuck in this situation.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they made us feel like, oh my God, there's so much to learn and so much to figure out. I mean, he was having a whole, if Loki
was having a whole meltdown.
Exactly. Could you imagine, right? So I think they did an amazing job at giving us so much in such a little bit of time, but then also not feeling like we still
didn't know what the hell was going on.
No, we didn't. Which I think is another thing that makes me really enjoy this series, because it's still, even though I like the fact that we're getting a lot of questions answered quickly, but I also like the fact that they're still giving us that opportunity to be like, ask. What's next? So and like you said, I kind of feel like me and anybody else, which I'm sure that I won't say it's a vast majority, but there's a large number of people watching this that have too much information on their minds, that it does us a disservice, right? Because we're not going into it with like, oh my God, I don't know anything about what's about to happen next. We're already making suggestions, estimations, theories, or just knowing. Like there was one recap video I watched where the guy, he's been right like 4 out of 5 times or 3 out of 5 times he's been right. So I feel like, it's and I've had to actually stop watching his videos because I
take the fun out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I started to feel like, this is almost as bad as me watching previews, because it's kind of giving me the end, or he's giving me the next scene and that kind of stuff, and I want to just experience it, right?
See, the beautiful part for me is I don't want to know. I found that I enjoy Marvel movies more when I don't know, because I didn't. It's like when, spoiler alert, Glenn died on The Walking Dead, right? And I was reading the comic book at the time. So, but I had just started reading it. So I was still in the first or second few books, you know what I'm saying? And not the actual comic books, like, but like in the, you know how they put like 10 the graphic novel style. So at that point, I didn't want to watch it. So I was like, I can just read all of them. But then I found out that happened in like issue 252 or something like that. So it was like, there is no way that I can get there in enough time. And it's like, you get to this point where you're reading the comics and you're learning. If I would have watched or read the comics before I watched the Walking Dead show, that show wouldn't have hit like it hit for me. And I probably wouldn't have watched it because the story was changed all the way around. Just like watching Umbrella Academy and read, because it's not that many comics. So I was able to read all of those comics before I even watched the first episode. And it's different. When I got to the end, I said, oh, that's not how it ended in the comic books, or that's not how that series of the comics ended. I wasn't mad because I still liked the ending, but just think, if I really liked that ending, I wouldn't have liked the show, and I probably wouldn't have continued to watch it. So I mean, it's cool to be a fan.
I'm gonna sound crazy here, but you know, everybody has their opinions on it. But I read the oh shoot, I just forgot the name of the book that quick as I was saying. Oh, Twilight. I read the Twilight series before the movies, right before the movies came out, and I absolutely loved the Twilight series books. Like, I loved them. You know, of course they were teenage angst books, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But they were still really, the story was still a really well written story. But after the movie came out, I was totally pissed and done at what they did to the, not only the story, but the characters, everything. Nothing hit at all, because I had read these books and had these expectations. And, you know, especially after just reading the entire Harry Potter series and then watching the Harry Potter movies and seeing how well you can redo a book in a movie and then go to Twilight and they blow it, right? You know, so at least in my opinion, they blew it.
Well, you're not the only one, because my friend, he was very disappointed. He was a big fan of the books, and he was very disappointed. He took me to see every single one of the movies. I know what the hell I was watching, but I like vampires, so I was like, I'll go. And I hated them. Because I watched John Carpenter's vampires. Okay, I watched Dracula. Okay,
you know what I was expecting. I was expecting Vampire Diaries meets the werewolf movies that Kate Beckham is in. You know,
like Underworld.
Like Underworld. I was expecting Vampire Diaries and Underworld to be meshed together and to create that kind of style of movie for Twilight. That's what I was expecting. And yeah, like you said, they blew it. It was just terrible. The whole thing was terrible. But anyway, digress. The situation with the comics, though, is that, you know, historically, comic books or comic book characters never follow one story. They never have one book or one way of origin. They never have one storyline, not one particular ending. So there's always these variations, these story arcs, these changes that are made depending on the generation, or maybe even because of TV shows and movies like this. It just depends, right? So, you know, me reading the books or reading the comics that I read, I expect differences between what I read versus what's going to be on these movies versus what's going to be in these TV shows, et cetera, et cetera. So, but like you said, still, I have these certain expectations, though, you know, because there's certain things that do either align or you know, or like you said, you like this particular ending, or you like this particular origin story. I mean, look at DCEU, you know, they changed the origin story of Superman very little, but then they changed the origin story of Batman, you know, not a huge amount, but quite often, right? So if you really like the origin story of Batman, you might get really upset because they keep changing it or whatever. But anyway, like you said, the biggest thing for me was I kind of went into this with a couple of expectations, and I was not disappointed at all. But I had a lot of background and so
and
certain things.
preconceived notions that you
Exactly.
would say, well, why wouldn't they do that? Or why, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what
Yeah.
I'm finding out. Did you see Black Widow yet?
Yes, I saw Black Widow. Yeah.
I'm not about to give away anything of the movie. I just felt like it was a movie that you could watch where you didn't know anything about anything. I literally could say, this is how the story, this is why she here. And you could watch the movie and you would enjoy the movie. But what I'm finding is a lot of people who are super Marvel fans didn't like the movie. And I thought it was a great movie. That you can just watch. You can just watch it. You can just watch, and you don't have to know anything.
Yeah. That's the one thing I was impressed by, was that they kept it the whole story so contained. And I was trying to explain to my sisters, because one of them was like, oh, I hated it, but she watched 10 minutes of it. I'm like, how do you watch 10 minutes of this movie and hate the whole movie? You haven't watched it. But anyway, I told her, I said, the biggest thing was the storyline. I was like, you needed to know very little about Black Widow going into it. I was like, there was maybe about 5 or 10 minutes of content that you needed from 4 different movies in order to go into this fully prepared. I was like, but you really could have just walked right into the movie.
Right, but none of that stuff had anything to do with her, honestly. None of that stuff had anything to do with her. At the end of the day, we didn't know nothing about her anyway. So it didn't matter.
Yeah. True that. I mean, there were some Easter eggs or some callbacks, right? That's basically what we got. We got things that we can now call Easter eggs and callbacks in this movie. Pre that movie, that's it. Yeah,
right.
You're 100% right.
But like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's disappointing to know that a movie that if we saw, or a TV show that if we saw just this original content, this original idea that spurred from someone's head, we would love 10 out of 10 every time if it wasn't associated with a book or some other source material. That's what's disappointing about it to me as a fan that started when I started watching Iron Man and going into these movies as movies. They're movies to me. I know these characters are bigger than just that, but when I watch these movies, I watch them from a movie standpoint. When I watched Loki, the episode 4, my emotions was evoked from a person watching a show that I enjoy, and I'm watching characters be pruned and I'm thinking they're dying, whereas someone who has nitpicked and broken this down every piece and part felt nothing when those things happen. Right. And that's the disappointing part. You want to know so bad that you don't enjoy the art that is being created for you.
True that. And that's the biggest thing about Marvel TV shows and movies, is that they're heavy on emotion, heavy on storyline, right? And they make great use of even Kevin Feige was talking about how he kind of didn't like having to release Black Widow and at home, because he feels like the way that they structure the movies is that they structure them for large audiences to
enjoy together.
Right? And when you think about that, some people won't get that. Some people won't understand what that really means. But when you get it, you get it. Like the biggest example to that is the scene in Endgame
when he pick up the
chatter and the thing in his headset, and everybody goes crazy. Everybody goes wild. Or at the end of Infinity War when the snap happened and everybody in the theaters,
oh my God,
quiet, and all you do is look at 400, 500 other people in disbelief because you're all feeling the same thing, and that amplifies it, right? It just simply amplifies it. So, but that's the thing. Even with the TV shows, they still build these TV shows to amplify emotion. Like you said, in the beginning of episode 4, watching the post or the situation right after I don't know what they call it, the arc had been destroyed, watching Loki and Sylvie have that interaction, and that interaction became an emotional, this thing that they were creating, this bond that they were creating, and eventually, it looked
it
like
creates a Nexus event.
Exactly, creates that Nexus event, and it was you got emotionally involved in that, right? If you weren't already privy to the information. Now the good thing is that information, I believe, has appeared nowhere. Like that, the beginning of that episode has not appeared in any comics, any stories, anywhere, because Sylvie actually does not exist in the comics. Her name,
like her story was great. Like that messed me up. It reminded. I told Devin, I was like, this is reminding me of like ICE.
Yes.
Taking kids and watching them have to be in front of a judge answering for crimes that they never committed, and she had never
definitely don't understand.
Right, and they definitely don't understand, and they taking this young girl, and I mean, I always wonder, like, so at the end of that episode, Sylvie asks Renslayer, what was my Nexus event? And at the beginning of the episode, because of how the soldiers were in all the other episodes, they're oblivious. They do their job. They don't know what's going on. They just know they got to do what they got to do. And I guess I don't know if they did that on purpose to let us know how heartless they made them be and how focused on the mission and the job they made them be. But it made me wonder in the beginning, like, as a person, to take this child from their home and then destroy their home, delete their home, delete their family, delete the only thing they ever know. Because why would you care if you know they're going to be pruned, right? How do you know what they've done? Because how could you not know what they've done and be able to do that? And I truly don't think she did.
Yeah. I mean, I everything I know now, at that moment when I watched it, I felt like she did know, but then, like you said, I think that at the end of the day, as a hunter, I'm pretty sure she did not know. She probably didn't, like you said, she probably did not care.
No,
at that moment,
because
that wasn't the mission. The mission is get this timeline pruned before chaos ensues. So, episode 5 rating, what would you say?
Episode 5. I would give that episode a 6.
A 6, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It
wasn't enough in there for you. Too many slow parts.
It was just okay. So it was too many convenience things happening. Like, so my biggest issue with that episode is them finding each other.
Yes. Oh my god. When you said convenience, I already knew what you were talking about. Stuff was way too convenient up in that episode. Way too. I'm like, do you see how big that ship was that came out of the sky? The area around that whole and the life itself, that area around that whole thing has got to be massive. You got to be talking at least the size of not even just New York. You're talking the size is this almost the state of New York. You know what I mean? How big that has to be for that all that stuff to fit in there. So it's like how do you even see each other? Like,
how does Morbius find Sylvie, and then Sylvie finds Loki and all the other Lokis?
They're just running across these fields like it's nothing.
Yeah, like, and then but no, we can't find C20 though. Like, she just got ate up by the monster. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, okay, guys, like, this is a great episode, but that I can't.
Yeah,
do.
I hate badly spaced areas. Like you it looks massive, but then everybody's just walking across it and
like it's nothing.
In a matter of minutes.
Like it's nothing. How did
taking a sprint and they do it in 30 seconds? Like,
like,
I don't run this fast. Y'all really
that was my big. Other than that, the episode was really good. I just think that part alone just kind of you know.
Yeah, I gave it a strong 6.5, possible 7, only because of some of the characters that we got introduced in it, and as well as all the I would say the I just felt good about everything that was happening in that episode in terms of where these characters were going. So I was thrown off by the convenience, but I was happy about, you know, where they were going, what I figured was going to happen, and the fact that this was the type of penultimate episode that I like, because usually, and I talk about this a lot, because I usually watch these shows and the penultimate episode is always like the most action-packed, answer field, and everything happens, and then you get left with a season finale that's like blah, like super blah, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing happening, everybody's just saying goodbye, and you know, it's kind of almost like filler information at the end,
right,
of the last episode. But this one took the step of being more of the filler episode, as well as, you know, again, more stuff was being revealed. And then, you know, it's like, okay, so there was some slow parts where people are basically saying goodbyes and giving their monologues and that kind of thing. But there was enough in there for me to feel like, wow, I know where they're going. I know that this last episode is going to be where I want it to be. It did reveal to me as well that episode 6 was not going to be an epic episode. And that it gave me, you know, the expectations to not feel like, you said you want to spoil it. Okay, we're about to spoil it. I'm sorry. So, you know, but basically it was definitely a great episode in my mind that you know, that was needed. So I gave it a strong 6.5, possible 7. And to Smooth's point, let's get to spoiling this episode. So Loki episode 4. The episode started out with Sylvie and Loki having that Nexus event. What did you think about that event and that them coming together? Did you think it was necessary? Did you think it was real? Did you think it, like, how did you feel about it?
I thought it was weird, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was trying to figure out if Loki liked Loki, and I thought that was weird. But then the Nexus event happened, and I said, what the hell? Why? Well, that's convenient. Because how else would they have been saved?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I'm not trying to take away from anybody's experience, but watching that, I just thought that it was weird. That scene was weird to me because it's weird. It was a very weird scene because Loki liking Loki like you like yourself. Like, I mean, it's not you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
beyond the like yourself, right? I mean, because my man's was in love with himself, you know, basically. You know?
I mean, and that's what I was trying to figure. I was watching Hey Arnold. Do you like me, or do you like me? Like, what is happening?
right, exactly. That's exactly how I felt. It was definitely like one of those kind of moments, and I mean, I felt it was necessary because I felt it was once again us being able to watch Loki evolve some more. You know what I mean? Because he even mentioned like, I've never felt this way. Blah 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 blah. This is his opportunity to continue to grow, and that's one thing I've been loving about this series is that even though we plucked 2012 Loki out of the timeline, the Loki that was ready to destroy New York, he did destroy New York, ready to take over, ready to be king of Asgard, ready to, you know, be a plunderer. And well, I mean, you know, we found out he really wasn't, but you know what I mean? But that's who we had that vision of right back in 2012. That's who we thought he was.
But you know, I never looked at him that way. And I mean, I may be the only crazy person that while Loki was stabbing people and killing people was saying, Loki, you just tripping.
Smooth,
when is you gonna get it together?
You in the comments, Smooth, tell him what you said before. Smooth was like, Loki was a killer.
Well, he did. Yeah, he ain't wrong. He was right. But I always just looked at him like a guy doing bad things, but not a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, he gave up too easily.
Giving Loki the benefit of the doubt.
He gave up too easily. The Hulk only flung him around a couple of times, and he was like, "Okay, I'm done."
right.
He really wasn't about that life. He really wasn't.
Right. Well, I like you said, I think it was definitely a convenient way for them to get out of the lamented situation. But like I said, I felt like it was a great bonding moment. You're right. Totally weird to be in love with yourself, and you know, I mean, a lot of us do love ourselves, but damn, you know,
Yeah, like I
Loki
was
was a
just like, this
psycho,
is
right?
getting weird. This is getting so weird.
I mean, because you know, wrap your mind around that, right? You know, how do you love yourself and love yourself? You
Like, yeah, like how would that work? Like that whole scene, I was sitting there like, do Loki like Sylvie?
know?
Like, are they like, do they feel like they family, or do he like want to kiss her? Like,
Right.
I
You know,
mean, because
I was torn a little bit. I was leaning more towards the he really wants to kiss her. He really wants to be in love with her. This was the first time he's ever felt love, true love. And but then I was like, maybe this is also the first time he's ever felt the ability to trust somebody, the full on trust. Because at the point, remember we talked about this, Loki never really accepted his family that did love him, that did show him. I mean, he from the gate being adopted by Asgardians, being put into a family as one of their own, even tricked to the point of saying, "Hey, we're not even going to tell you that you're adopted. You one of us."
right,
You know, they were giving him love, and he was never accepting. He was shunning it away, pushing it away.
right,
Right. This was the first time he was not feeling like he needed to push love away. It was the first time he felt accepted. He felt trusted. He felt like he could trust. So I was thinking, like, well, maybe this is what he's feeling. Maybe this is the new thing for him that makes him. But then that could also be translated into love, right? You know,
right.
so you know, there's a lot there, especially her being so close, you know, so closely resembling his personality and things like that. So, and I, you know, from experience, I know being around a person who's just like you can make you fall in love quickly. You know, you can definitely feel like that bond is even stronger because you see the things that you like and that you want and that you aspire and that kind of stuff in that person, and that just makes you feel more in love with that person. You
Okay,
right,
break
Smooth.
it down then.
He definitely knew Hulk was different.
Break it down then. That was a good breakdown of that.
Hell yeah, I try. So we got the breakout. They pull him out of the apocalyptic event. They both get pulled into the TVA. They're getting arrested or whatever. Let's see, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah. Just before that, I think Sylvie revealed that she had been running for a long time. When we saw her as a little girl, knowing that Loki is over 1,000 years old, that tells us that she's been running for a long time. She's
right,
you know, she's been running roughly, you know, 900 years on the run.
right.
So that's a long time. She learned a lot. She's done a lot, right? So the biggest thing was what do they call it? The biggest thing was her and him going to the time sales, right? And that's when we got to see a little, like I said, we got to see a little bit more of how the TVA works in terms of how they do their interrogations. We also got the final revelation that Hunter B-15 was enchanted into a variant memory, as well as we got to see that, or we got to start seeing Mobius start to put two and two together, right? Looking
Yeah, he would
for,
have been able to put it two and two together quicker if Loki didn't hurt his feelings.
yeah. No, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because I think I missed that in the review last week. Is that that conversation they had, as well as the situation in terms of that Loki, you know, went on the run and all this kind of stuff. I think Mobius was genuinely hurt
Yeah, he was
by the
hurt.
situation.
He was hurt because whatever, you know, I was watching Green Lantern the other day because that's our movie that we're watching this week.
Oh, okay.
And you know, they kept saying the ring chose me. I see because it sees something in me that I don't see in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that Morbius saw what Loki could be. And he, like I keep saying, man, Loki has a good heart. He just was going down the wrong path. And I mean, sometimes you do hurt people. Sometimes you do make mistakes. Sometimes you do. That's why I love the line that he says to him in that episode after he takes him out of the time loop prison cell thing, interrogation, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
When he basically looks at him and says, you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you can change, basically giving him that something. Nobody has ever told him that.
No. Yeah.
And even on that basis, when his dad went to Ash, it took too long for these people in his life to tell him those things, because those are the things that would have set him on a right path, would have kept him on the path, because he has a really good heart. Right. He has a really good heart. And I guess I always knew that about Loki. And I think Morbius saw that. I think he saw that, because he seemed like he a softy his dang on self. So
I mean, his actions from day one, you could tell he had a I think he had grown into this relationship with these Lokis, that he knew that one day he would find the right Loki for him, that would be, one part crazy conniving, the liar that he was expecting, but then another part, the good person, the deep down, he would find that one and be able to take, and use his skills to be able to find the Lokis that he's looking for. So I think that was definitely, his soft spot. And then he also, like you said, he saw something in Loki. He wanted to help Loki, deep down. I think he really wanted to help Loki deep down. So
also it was revealed that he actually did like Sylvie. I talked to a few people about that scene, and a lot of, when you're bad, people want you to be bad, and that's just what they want you to be, and they can't see you no other way. So a lot of people that I talked to didn't like that scene, because they didn't like how Loki changed and how he cared for this rando lady so much so fast. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, seeing yourself get killed by Thanos will make you change.
Yeah. That's like I think you're right. Getting that fast forward view of your life, and like we said before, he got to see the acceptance that he got from his father. He got to see the mistakes that he's made with his, getting his mother killed. He got to also see his brother, really accept him and embrace him outside of all the bad things he had done to him. And then, the biggest thing was his like you said, his death, and seeing that he had evolved into this hero, and then he was killed. He's like, I can be a good person. I can, so he got to see all of that. And now he knows that he doesn't have to put this facade on. Like,
right.
He broke it down in the first episode. It's like, no, I don't want to be this. I just want to be me, but I have to do this in order to get noticed.
Right. Right. Just hence what was talked about in his time loop with what's the girl name? His little with
Sif. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Sif, basically constant. And it's so crazy that that's the thing that they chose to replay in his life. That moment of all moments. He's murdered people. He's done so many things, but that moment to him was a moment that changed him forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That little moment. Yeah. That's why he out here stabbing Coulson.
And Mobius accented was something she said. She says that, I hope you deserve to be alone and always will be. Mm-hmm. So that was something that that Mobius accented as well. Like, hey, you do these things, and you're going to just end up being alone forever. We got another viewpoint of that later on as well in episode 5. So there's a running theme in Loki's life. And that's definitely, like you said, it was crazy that they picked that, but that was basically what they were telling him, is like, this is the running theme in your life. You're basically forcing yourself to be a loner.
Right. Because you don't want to, because you want attention, but the things you're doing to get attention, you could have been an actor, could have been a singer, you could have been any type of entertainer, but you decided you could have been a magician, like legit, you know what I'm saying? But you chose to be a murderous, mischievous
Right.
asshole.
Yeah, basically. So little Easter egg while Mobius was looking for C20 and trying to get information on C20, he mentioned to B15 that they were talking and they were going back and forth about how crazy what was going on, and he says it's crazy, we've taken down Creed, we've taken down Titans, and which are Thanos and the Eternals. He's like, we're taking down demigods like Loki and Thor, and he's like, and we're taking down vampires. So he was making reference to Blade. So shout out to Blade coming up soon. Hopefully by 24, 25, we'll be seeing the new Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. So
yeah, they finally coming out with a Blade Funko Pop too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that should be dope. Mobius, after finding out about what happened to C20, he definitely wasn't convinced.
No.
Renslayer tried her best to seduce him. I was feeling like she was trying to seduce him in a way. That whole this friendship thing, and all this back and forth. I felt like she was really trying to seduce him.
Well, I mean, Loki did hit him with the you're all lying. They lying to you. You're all variants. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was fine in a way until that, but that kind of made him. I don't know, the way that Loki man be talking sometimes. You be like, he did not sound like he was lying right then. Like, damn. You be like,
right? Exactly.
But yeah, I think she was trying to seduce him. Maybe they didn't got down in the past. He played it cool.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't play it cool enough.
Because
she could see that he was being weird, and what she knew that he didn't know she knew.
Mm-hmm.
She was already looking at everybody with the side eye.
Right.
Everybody who went on that mission because of what happened to C20.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree, Smooth. This Blade movie better be epic because we already have a great Blade series. So I think the whole series was great, but they better not mess this up at all.
Yeah, Blade got to be good. Yeah. It's got to be good because Blade is good.
Yeah. I think that the after he steals her time pad, he sees what really happened to C20, and
she said, "I'm a variant." I like that.
Right.
Like,
that sets him off. Yep, exactly. So I feel like he had all the information he needed at that point. So we saw him go back to the time cell. He pulls Loki out, but it was too late. He end up meeting up with Renslayer and the other guards, and he tells her, he finally knows where he wants to go back to when he had a jet ski.
That was such an epic scene.
It was.
That thing was epic.
Because I really felt like I thought he was going to fight back more, but I knew he was definitely going to put it out there, and he did. I was clapping for him.
I love Owen Wilson. I love the way he delivers his lines and stuff. Like, he makes you love his character. I don't care who it is.
Exactly. Owen Wilson in general is just an amazing actor. So,
yes.
I definitely love him in almost everything I've ever seen him in. I can't think of anything I have seen him in that I didn't love him, but definitely this was just another example of how great he just definitely just gets into.
He's really great in Indian in the Cupboard. I know that's random as hell, but
yes, no, I love that movie. Yes, indeed, yeah. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it was. I can't think of it, but yeah, that movie was awesome that he was in, and that
And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about what you just said, him watching the clip of C20. What if she not dead? What if they didn't prune her? What if they just put her in a cell?
Like they did B-15.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Interesting.
And they just haven't showed her because too much is going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, she might come back. I mean, she's a variant, right? All variants have other variants, so
right. That's true too. That's true too.
Yeah. So yeah, so they pruned Mobius. Like you said, I was in shock and awe when it happened because I did not expect her to go that far that quick.
Yeah, I mean, and just like that, I mean, he was just standing there.
Yeah.
Like,
and she had no problems telling them to prune him. I was like, wow.
That blew me. That blew me. And I was looking mad.
That's when I knew she definitely, well, I felt like she was fully invested in TVA to the point where she was not going to be swayed. She was not going to be, her mind was never going to be changed. There was no convincing Renslayer that there was a problem here, you know.
Right.
I figured she was either in on it and knew more than she's putting on, or that she at least was never going to be the one to say, you know what, I was wrong. This is not, you know,
blah, this is not on the up and up, and we need to take these folks out. She was on her own. She was on her own mission. And she pruned Morbius.
Smooth said that's his last name Wilson. That's why. Spoiler alert there.
Oh, that's funny.
So Renslayer, you know, takes Loki and Sylvie to the timekeepers. That's like you were saying. Sylvie asked her the question, you know, what happened during my Nexus event that caused me to get, you know, that you guys were going to prune me. And, you know, like I said, at that moment, I felt like Renslayer was trying to stick a dagger in Sylvie,
yeah, she definitely
by telling her, oh, I don't remember, or I don't know. You know, I felt it was really like, you know, it was just being petty. That's what.
Yeah, she was definitely being petty. But did you see her face when she initially asked her?
Yeah, she turned her.
She didn't know.
Like I said, I at first when I was looking at her face, I was like, she knows. She just don't want to tell this woman what was going on. But then, like you said, later on, I kind of felt like, well, she probably didn't really know.
No, she didn't know.
And she probably realized at that moment.
And then she just like, I'm gonna just be petty.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I think she also realized, like, you know what? I don't know what these people are doing. I just know what the mission is. I know what the job is, right? And because they all talked about that. Mobius put that.
Yep, we got to do the work.
Do the work, exactly.
Put your head down, do the work.
The timekeepers, you know, they have that whole conversation with the timekeepers, and they're
So from jump, I knew they was fake. I mean,
as soon as you walked in the room, I'm like, how did Renslayer go before these guys for eons and not realize these guys are fake?
I mean, who are these people? Why do they look like that? Why do they sound so goofy? They couldn't be real. I couldn't take these people seriously. They don't even sound real. They laughing and being weird. Like they sound like something is not quite right.
Exactly.
But their room looked really cool.
You said who did?
Their room looked really cool.
Yeah, the room was dope. Yeah, the room was set up nice.
But they was fake.
But they looked fake. Like you said, I'm like, really? Like Marvel, we do better job at special effects than this. What's really going on? And the first thing I thought was like, these things can't be real. And
no.
Sure enough, you know, after they had their little conversation, you know, Sylvie throws the spear up there and knocks the one on the top, knock his head off, and the other two start laughing. I'm like, what is going on, bro?
I was like, because they fake.
Exactly.
I mean, first thing I said is, so they the almighty timekeepers and they not gonna stop this fight. That's because they fake.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. But you know, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know, it wouldn't make sense. Well, one, I didn't understand what was the sense and purpose of bringing them there anyway. Why do you want Loki and Sylvie in the room with you to see them get pruned anyway? Like that didn't make sense to me. But then two, why would they be there anyway? Like it doesn't make sense these almighty timekeepers who have all this power to be in the room with peons, right?
It makes sense to me now, but that's for next week's episode.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, indeed. So, you know, I think that it was definitely one of those situations where it was like, I saw through the ruse, but then also still didn't understand the rules, which I love.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. I mean, it didn't make sense. It didn't. It really was just like, okay, so did y'all want them to kill y'all?
Right.
Like, I mean, That's the only thing I can think of. Like, did y'all want them to kill y'all? Because I mean, like, if y'all know y'all not real.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. So yeah, so I wasn't totally shocked. I was a little shocked when she knocked his head off, but I wasn't totally shocked. And then the fight happens. That was kind of dope. You know, once again we saw one of your complaints is Loki can't fight.
no, Sylvie whip ass though.
Yeah,
Sylvie whoops ass though.
She was on it. And then Renslayer, so she's got a little bit of skills.
Oh yeah, she can fight too. I just love seeing my black people out there like that. I watched that girl. That girl was on morning show before this. That's what I saw her on. Her character died off on that show, and I'm just so happy that she out here fighting. I love it. Like I watched Gunpowder Milkshake today. Everybody go watch that. Go watch them middle-aged women of all different races, colors, and creeds whoop ass. Okay. Go watch it.
Gunpowder Milkshake. I have to check that out.
It's great.
So great. Then, Sylvie and Sylvie has a breakdown. Loki is like,
oh yeah, when she found out that they wasn't real.
Yeah, then Loki's like, hey, everything's okay.
Weird again.
He wants to have his moment again, right? His one
start getting weird again.
And so that's the scene that made me feel like Loki was probably not in love, and more like, I really trust you, you trust me, we can do this together, that kind of thing. That's what I was.
No, I felt like he was about to tell her and confess his undying love for her and get super fucking weird and kiss himself. I mean, exactly. I just like
when he was leaning in, I was like, it's about to go down.
I'm like, oh God. I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And then he gets pruned and it's like, oh no. Like
so smooth. Yeah, believe me, Smooth. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago. How it's crazy to us that Loki seriously can't fight. Like, what is going on? Like is it because he's supposed to be this super villain or this super person, this god, that he just took a step back and was like, I don't have to learn how to fight. I'm a god.
He is an asshole though. Fighting is beneath him. He would rather play a trick than fight. I mean, I'm not surprised Loki can't fight. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, remember like watching the movies when Thor is like training and he's sitting there eating grapes? I mean, like he went on the missions because his parents told him he had to, but he was sitting in the background. Okay, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna help y'all a little bit, but this is beneath me. I don't do this. Right. I can zap myself in and zoop myself out. I don't have to do all of this. I'm Loki, the god of mischief. Bye. Right. So I'm not surprised he can't fight. I mean, that's how he was so easy to take down when they were fighting him in New York. I mean, like,
right, yeah,
that's why I'd never really consider him a true villain. To me, he does not have all the skills to be like the Joker. Like, you know, like the Joker can't fight.
Joker's another great one that can't fight. He's good at what he does, but he's not a fighter. Definitely.
No, Joker can't fight. If he got a poison Batman or something, because he really just a human man too, who got dipped in some acid and it made him go crazy.
And let's keep in mind too that
story.
Yeah, the Asgardians and Frost Giants are not, well, at least Loki as a Frost Giant, as a what they call it, as a runt Frost Giant, are just basically humans with extra, durability. That's it. That's all they have. They're just extra durable humans. So it's a good point. Really good point.
I'm not surprised. He Loki.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Joker comparison is definitely a great comparison because it's basically the same kind of situation.
But a supervillain to me is not the person who can fight the best. Like, and that's what kind of like messed Thanos up in the grand scheme of things. It's because he had to put his feet on the ground. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The Joker Loki did all that, and he ain't fight nobody until the end. I mean, he destroyed a whole city and he really didn't do anything. he had people fighting for him. He
just put it all
controlled the people he needed to control to get the work done. That's a supervillain. That's a supervillain. They get the work done.
Know how to delegate. Basically,
exactly.
They know how to delegate.
They get the work done without even having to touch the ground. You know what I'm saying? That's why Thanos dead anyway. He had to fight. He was the strongest fighter. If he didn't fight, he would have lost. If he didn't go in with his hand and take those stones himself, it would have took him forever to get them. That's why he had to go do the work that other people could not do. Loki, on the other hand, he can put his hand on Thanos' head if he don't have an Infinity Gauntlet and control him, and then go have him go get the stones for him.
True that. Good point. See, you see now why I have her as my co-host, Smooth. She makes all the great points that I don't have to make. I don't have to pick her out. Super villain.
Now, I was gonna ask you a question though. Why don't you think they showed what is she, B-15 or C-15?
B-15.
Why don't you think they showed us her story, like when Sylvie touched her head to show her story?
That's a good question. I don't really have an answer for that, because I don't really think that there's anything important that they would have had to reveal for us there in terms of like showing us. I was happy that that the what they call it, that the that was the method that they used to kind of bring B-15 over to Team Loki. Is because that it would have, I think it would have been too convenient for them to be like, oh, Loki just says you all are variants, and they just believe him, right?
Yeah.
Having B-15,
one of their strongest soldiers,
exactly, one of their strongest soldiers, be convinced because she's shown the truth. Once you get shown the truth, it's hard to deny, right?
Correct.
Same thing that happened to Mobius. Loki telling him you all are variants. Mobius like, what are you talking about? You crazy? But then getting shown the truth, seeing C-20 in that interrogation, he couldn't deny it, right?
Right.
So I think that method of, and they didn't have to really do a whole nother scene just to kind of
I chalked it up to the budget.
Yeah, exactly. Budget and time, right? There was a lot that happened in the episode, so budget and time.
Yeah.
The weird scene, they were about to kiss.
Yeah, it got really weird.
Hits Loki in the back. What it reminded me of? Loki hitting
oh wow, you deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Coulson in the back. I was like, it's the same thing.
Well, he be stabbing people in the back. So
people in the back.
If I wasn't so mad, I probably would have laughed, but I was going through it that moment.
Exactly.
I was going through
my mouth was wide open, like, oh my God. I'm like, how do you have a Loki show without Loki? Like, I seriously thought he was dead, because
I thought he was too.
The way she did Mobius, and then I knew she was going to do that to him if she had a chance. So I was just like, I was done. I was done. Like, oh my God.
Through. I was screaming, yelling, crying, like, y'all going to kill him again. Y'all going to make me watch him die again.
But then I was like, well, maybe because we saw Loki die in Endgame, maybe they were getting rid of him, and now Sylvie's going to be the Loki in the Loki series. That's my mind went through all this.
I don't want to watch that. I want to watch Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I mean, my mind went through all of that during that 2.5 minutes of mid-credit scenes before credits before the mid-credit scene popped up, and we got to see Loki and the Lokis. And that was how it's like, woo, that relief, that sigh of relief. I was like, wow, okay.
I was just confused. I was like, you know what? I ain't about to be messing around with y'all. I'm not about to play with y'all. Y'all just take me through all of that, and then it's a whole bunch of damn people looking at them.
But what if they would have took you through all that and made you wait a week? How would you have felt if you would have had to wait?
I don't know. I think I would have liked it better. I think I would have liked it better. Yeah, I think I would have liked it better. I would have been worried a lot, like the whole time. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. That's great. Okay. I would have been hurt. I'd have been sad. I'd have been mad. We'd have been sad for a long time. I'd have been sad. I'd have been sad. Because I mean, I'm not like I keep saying, like when Loki died in Infinity War, that really messed me up. I like Loki. I like the Thor movies. I like him. I've always liked his character.
They would have had to done the previews properly in order to pull that off too, though. They put too much in the previews to have had us wait a week. We'd have known already. Like there's more previews that show him doing other stuff that we didn't see yet.
But they would have caught hell if they wouldn't have put that mid-credit scene there.
Yeah,
they would have caught hell.
Yeah.
Either they should have. I kind of wish they would have just put it at the end of the episode, but instead of doing a mid-credit scene, because it kind of putting a mid-credit. The reason why I say they could have waited to the next week because it took away from that, you know. And it's cool to do the end-credit scenes or whatever, but I just feel like it took away from all that emotion and kind of just made you be like, oh, okay, so next week we're just back. Okay.
Well, I didn't. I still felt the emotion because I was still like, oh my God, for that whole 2.5, 3 minutes, I was like I said, I went through so much in my head. I had figured out a whole bunch of different scenarios. It was so much I was going through during that 3 minutes. And then I can't even remember what made me wait for a mid-credit scene. I think it was just because I figured there would be a mid-credit scene after all of that. But then I also was just like, just in shock and just trying to get it.
Well, it definitely was a moment that, I mean, because I don't normally watch the credits. I just sat there in shock. I couldn't even formulate word.
Yeah, believe me, me and my son and his mom are watching it. And I just turned and looked at both of them like
so. I mean, and maybe that's a part of the game too. Like they knew that episode was so jaw dropping that everybody was gonna sit and not watch the credits, but
contemplate life.
Try to, because have you ever went to the movie theater and you watched a movie that was so whoa, that you sat there while the credits was rolling and just sat there?
7.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The end of 7, I was just like,
what's in the box?
Bruh, that right there blew me away.
It was a horror movie that I went and saw. I can't think of the name of it. It's with Ethan Hawke in it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Ethan Hawke. What's the name of that movie? Can't think of it right now. Let me see. It is called a movie. You ever seen that horror movie where Sinister?
Oh, Sinister. I never seen Sinister, but I heard about it. Yeah.
Look, went to see Sinister, just thinking it's gonna be like Insidious, something, kids, whatever. You know, you watch the movie, after the movie is over, the movie was so just like, what did I just watch? We sat there the whole credits and was just like, okay, we just watched that.
Some things like that. They get you like that. So yeah, so we when we got to see Loki wake up in the void, and we saw the Lokis. Boastful Loki, Kid Loki, Classic Loki, and at that moment, I didn't realize what that was in Kid Loki's hands until the next episode when I realized it was Alligator Loki. Oh, man, Alligator Loki. Like, let's just roll right into episode 5 because Alligator Loki. I'm telling you, I felt like him and Classic Loki stole the show.
I mean, yeah. They did. I mean, I didn't get the alligator. I don't know the reference. But it was definitely interesting. It was definitely interesting how everyone could understand him, but our Loki.
Exactly.
Which made me wonder if they were just crazy.
At first I thought that everybody was understanding him. I realized nobody understood Alligator Loki. They were just making this. After you have sat with an alligator for about 800-900 years, believe me, you'll just make really good assumptions of what he's talking about.
I just thought they had all lost their mind and they was just thinking that the alligator was talking to him.
Exactly, believe me, you feel that way after a few hundred years. I'm sure of it because I know people who talk to their pets.
Oh well, I definitely talk to mine. So
and you already got an idea of what your pet is thinking when they do certain things, act a certain way. You already know what they're thinking.
Oh, so that Black Loki was boastful Loki, because I just called him Black Loki.
Yeah, I know I called him Black Loki at first too. I was like, look, we got a Black Loki. And it was like, yeah, his name is Boastful Loki. So yeah, Boastful Loki, definitely he was weird, you know. He was walking around with like a makeshift Mjolnir. I was like,
Yes.
really?
Yeah, I was like, okay,
Like
that's weird.
you done nigger rigged a
Mew Mew.
millionaire.
A Mew Mew.
It was
But
like a
no,
railroad track pin and a wrench.
yeah, that was and then they had their little bootleg ghetto-fied throne room.
Right, exactly. That was so funny. That was so funny.
Man, and the guy who played classic Loki, the whole time I'm watching the episode, I'm like, I know him from something. I know him from something. So I go on his IMDb and I'm looking and looking and looking and looking. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I don't know him from anything. Why was he in Spice World? And now in the 2021, I'm remembering him from being the Spice Girls manager in Spice World, because that's how many times I've seen that movie in my life.
Really? That's where you remember him from?
Yes.
Wow, yes, that's Richard E. Grant. He's got a nice little list of credits.
Yeah,
But
but
he definitely
he killed in that though. He killed. Like he definitely impressed me. That classic Loki impressed me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong guy, which made me look at the Loki like Loki. Like what's up? Right. But exactly. He did speak to how magic is more powerful than fighting as well.
Exactly. He didn't have to fight to survive.
Right. And his powers were so cool because when they started fighting or arguing, whatever the hell they call themselves doing downstairs, and he tried to leave because they was getting on his damn nerve, which I thought was hilarious. Mm-hmm. That the Lokis was getting on Loki's nerve.
Right.
And all the other, were those all Lokis, or was the Loki king, the president Loki, the only Loki in that group of people who came down there and started that huge fight?
Yeah, that was the only thing I couldn't figure out either. I know, you know, we saw, of course, which was funny to me, because all this time everybody thought that President Loki was our Loki, but it just turned out it was just another Loki that just happens to look exactly like our Loki. But yeah, the other Loki, the other people that was with him, I want to say they weren't Lokis, that they just were other people that survived with them or something. But then again, it could have been, who knows, you know. But most of the Lokis that Mobius showed him looked similar to him, or some variation that you could, you know, maybe had a different costume.
Yeah, but you could see it as a Loki.
Exactly. Yeah, so same thing that happened with Alligator Loki. Basically, he's green, he's got the horns. We were satisfied. We were like, okay, yeah, he's a Loki, and he survived, right? So
right,
they were basically like, anybody that survives here has definitely got to be a Loki, which started me on a whole nother theory as I was watching that episode as well, as to what was going on. But you know, I just felt like it was really cool watching them all kind of interact and learning about each other. During the descent into the shelter, there's a scene where you see Mjolnir inside of the ground, and right below it there's a capsule or a jar that has this little thing in there jumping around. You hear it going and it hitting the thing. That was Frog Thor. So somehow they had
Crocodile Loki and Frog Thor know each other.
Yeah, that's the theory. The theory is that this alligator Loki is some kind of, basically a offshoot of who would be the animal version of Loki, you know, in comparison to Thor's frog version. Also, the the comment that Kid Loki made when he was asked what was his Nexus event.
He said he killed Thor.
Yeah, he said he killed Thor. In Endgame, Thor mentioned that not Endgame, in Ragnarok, Thor mentioned that Loki had turned him into a frog, and then when he came out of the spell, he stabbed him. So the theory is that Kid Loki was, because he said we were 8 years old. So everybody assumes that, or the theory is that 8-year-old Loki that stabbed Thor when he came out of that spell killed him and became Kid Loki that's in the void.
But not on purpose.
He stabbed him on purpose. I'm fairly sure he stabbed him on purpose.
All right, okay.
But yeah, so as you can see, that's Frog Thor in the jar. It says T365. It was actually not episode. What do you call it? The comic book issue number 365 when they had Thor turned into a frog. That's the handle of Mjolnir that you see here in the side over here. But the voice that did this frog Loki in the episode was Chris Hemsworth's voice.
That's so funny that they be having them do those random things.
Exactly. Very, very, very random. Very, very random.
They be getting paid money to do it too.
Right. So,
that's the funny part.
I think that it was a very cool Easter egg.
Oh well, he got on they all got on like
they all have on horns. You're right. Yep. So so these must be all Thors. There's another woman. A couple of younger guys, a couple of older guys.
Look at that.
A Loki that looks like our Loki.
Yeah, they all are Lokis. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at
Lokis
that.
Always survive.
Right. Oh, hey Stacy, how you doing?
Oh, sorry, Stacy. I missed your comment. My bad. What up, though? DJ Stacy always shows love over here. Appreciate that. So yeah, go back over here. So yeah, so the like you said, the conversations they were having, getting to know each other. Then we find out boastful Loki has betrayed the group, and then this, what is it? The President Loki comes in and he's like, you know what, you're not getting what you thought you're getting, and then turns out all the other Lokis are betraying him too. So we see a lot of classic Loki themes going on there, as well as once again the original group or now our Loki, classic Loki and Kid Loki are now trying to escape, and they use our classic Loki uses his duplication ability, which I thought was cool because he duplicated all three of them, and the duplicates were able to fight, which I thought was dope because that means his level of mastery of that spell is so top notch. And he even mentioned it. That's how he survived Thanos. His spell was so top notch that he was able to fully convince someone going against that duplicate that was the real him.
And then he was able to teleport them all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So
very strong.
Yeah, I mean, he's older, so he's probably closer to 2,000 or 3,000 years old. Probably closer to Odin's age at this time. So he's definitely probably had a lot more time to master his skills and that kind of thing.
But it was interesting how he explained how he was able to avoid the TVA for so long, that he spent the better part of his life in solitude, and only when he tried to come home because he missed his family did he get pruned.
Exactly.
And also confirming the younger Loki confirming that basically them trying to be good or better is what's leading to them being pruned theoretically.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what led me to my theory that basically whoever's whoever's after these Lokis, they are basically trying to suppress Loki from doing basically what he's meant to do. But I think in the purpose, or in the what's the word I want to use, with the purpose of trying to figure out, once again, what, like they were talking about, who's the superior Loki. So I was kind of thinking, like, where does Loki eventually get to a point where he's so not only mastered his spells and mastered his abilities, but also mastered himself, that somebody either feels like this is going to be the best Loki to find, or the Loki I need to destroy.
Right.
So, and that's the question I have, is like, why Loki? And
yeah, why is Loki, and why is his life so pivotal to everybody else's?
Right, to the timeline, to the sacred
but
timeline.
He couldn't save us from Thanos.
right, exactly. So which I felt was like, that's because that Loki, as far as he had gotten, he just didn't get far enough to be the one that needed to save us, you know what I mean, or to save whatever, or to be destroyed by whoever's after him, you know what I mean. So like I said, I feel like there's somebody's after Loki, somebody really wants Loki. So
yeah.
So that was my theory behind that. What was it? Next thing they do is they find Sylvie. Sylvie, like you mentioned, Sylvie finds Mobius. They have their conversation. They get back together with Loki and all the other Lokis. They have this whole conversation about what's the plan. They want to enchant Alioth, figure out how to, basically get him to reveal who's behind the TVA, who's behind the Void, and that kind of thing, as well as we got to see more interaction between Sylvie and Loki in terms of
being weird,
who they are, to
being
each other.
Weird again.
It got weird again.
It got weird again.
I thought it was a little less weird this time.
Because it's just like, okay, y'all like each other. It's okay. Yeah. Y'all just kiss. Just kiss.
Go ahead and kiss.
Stop being awkward, because y'all making it awkward, and it's already awkward, guys. Okay. It's already awkward for us, because
right.
How do y'all have kids? Like, what's the deal? Like, can y'all have kids? Like, with the world all the timelines explode at that point? Like,
I think so.
Or I mean, because y'all have literally different blood, but the same. Like, how does it work? Is that incest? Is it not? Like, what is it? Like, how? Like, how does it work? Like, how?
Yeah, because y'all are related, because you're the same person.
Or like, is each Loki in each timeline made of different blood? I don't freaking know. I mean, like, genetically, how does this work?
Yeah, that's all weird.
You know what I'm saying? It's just weird. But I wanted to bring up a point. So 2 things that have bothered me with this episode. One is that I'm finding that Miss Minutes is a bad guy, and that bothers me.
Miss Minutes, yes. Miss Minutes is definitely not our friend.
No, she is not our friend. And her little facial expressions, I'll be like, okay, looky here, ma'am. You better get, but like the way they design the character and the way they make her facial expressions and the way they make her seem, like that episode at the beginning when Renslayer called her in to bring the files.
Oh yeah.
And she basically knew what was up. She knew what was up, and she helped her.
Expressions. She was.
Yeah, like, look at that. Yeah, look at her little file. So cute. But so like she a bad guy. Like,
I know, right?
And she looking like, and she making these little faces, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, how pivotal is she gonna be in the last episode? Like, what role is she gonna play in that episode? Because you forget about her. And then she pop up and it's like, oh, hey girl. But then it's like, but this is the first time that we see whose side she's on. Like,
Oh,
for,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, I think that lends to the fact that she is like, as an entity, she is like the TVA mascot, right? So she's
Right.
definitely not going to turn on the TVA. She's either some kind of high quality AI, or she's the extension of maybe a timekeeper's subconscious, but she's basically on the TVA all the way side. You know, she's definitely Team TVA all the way. Her and Renslayer. So
Yeah.
and that was the thing. I was wondering at the end of episode 4, why was Renslayer so happy to be pruned? It was like, oh, because she knows what happens when you get pruned. She knew she had her time pad on her hip, that she could just get over to the void, pop herself back into a time door, and be right back out of it, as well as she knows what's going on. So, these little clues and hints and big reveals are obvious in certain ways, to who these people really are and what their their alliance, where their alliances.
Yeah. Because I was like, Miss Minutes, you bitch. You lied about the time ship. I can't believe your little cute self.
Right. When she was stalling, I was like, oh, she fooling. Like
I was like,
she really doing this.
like she really like, okay, y'all really just straight up tried to lie to Sylvie. And Sylvie really just said, okay, forget y'all. I'm gonna just go self-prune to be with my boyfriend.
Exactly. So yeah, Kid Loki gave Loki a sword, flaming sword. It's called Leviathan, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually the Loki's version of Mjolnir. It's an ancestral's blade that Loki had used in the comics, and it basically is summonable. Like, he can, like Thor can summon Mjolnir, Loki can summon it using his powers. So it's
a big deal.
It's a big deal for Loki.
It was giving me Lord of the Rings vibes, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the blue orc sword. It was giving me Lord of the Rings vibes. And I was like, man, so you could have, because I'm tired of him walking around with this shirt with this cut on it, right? So I'm like, so all this time you could have changed your shirt, but you put a damn sword holder on your back.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I'm like, why did he change his clothes?
Like, change that damn shirt. I'm so tired of looking at this half cut arm, half not. I don't even know, because you can heal yourself. So I mean, you're healed up under there. But this shirt is like, just, I'm over it. I'm over looking at it. But what was I about to say? Okay. Renslayer, I think it's interesting that Renslayer didn't prune B15. I got C15 in here because I ain't know. But I think it's interesting that she did not prune her.
Right.
Maybe she, gonna like figure out the issues and reassign her mind or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Quite possible. Quite possible. Yeah, I mean, I her quest for the truth, kind of attitude when she was looking into the files, as well as coming to talk to B15, I think is like, she knows that she can basically get some information out of B15. So I think that's why she was really intent on keeping her around, because I think with Mobius, she had those people around her at the moment, and I don't know if that was just a quick crack decision, like prune them. I think maybe too, it was how to put this. I think she felt like she knew Mobius enough to know that he was not going to give her the information she wanted, but she also knew about B15's experience with Sylvie, and she wanted to know more about that, right? So I think that was the difference too, because Mobius, one, is not going to give you all the information you want, as well as he hasn't had the experience that she's looking for to understand what they're seeing, what's happening, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's the difference between B15 and Mobius, and why he got pruned and she didn't.
so I love the scene when Mobius is going back to TVA and Loki gives him a hug. Okay. Loki has a big heart. And I think that listening to him talk about Sylvie to the other Lokis and expressing how great and wonderful and amazing she is, and just listening to him, like this just keeps making me truly believe that he is so much like his family, his brother, his father, his mother. They were like, his father may have been a little jaded, but he loved his children, even the one he put in a fiery hole or whatever. Even Hilla, right. He loved her too. But like, they were very open. Asgard was a very open-hearted place to live. You know what I'm saying? And even when they turned on each other, whether it was freaking the dude from The Boys, I can't think what his name is right now, who played the dude who turned on them and then changed his mind and came back to the good side. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or whomever, nobody in Asgard was bad for long, first off, and nobody from Asgard didn't forgive the people who were. You know what I'm saying? Right. They led with love. And those moments, the way, especially the last couple of episodes, the way Loki has been talking with so much passion and emotion and feeling and heart, he reminded me of his brother. Like,
right.
He is an Asgardian prince. He is his father's son, even though he was adopted. He is his mother's son. He is a man who leads with his heart, just like his brother. He just didn't see it in himself.
Right.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful scene. I got a little teary-eyed when I watched it twice.
Yeah, it was definitely a testament to the type of person that Loki is, who he's grown to be. It's as much as Smooth doesn't believe it.
No, he ain't a bad guy. And Sylvie ain't either. She just a scared kid who never got to grow for real. She grew up, but
and that's the thing. We saw that when she had that meltdown after knocking the head off of that fake timekeeper, is that Chevy trying to get y'all to believe Loki leads with his heart. See, Smooth not convinced. But yeah, I think that was another testament to how much she hasn't grown out of the anger that she's had, out of the 900 years on the run could totally do that to you.
I mean, but that's a traumatic experience as a child, being put through something like that alone, not even understanding, because how many years did it take her to even understand what actually happened to her family? How many years did it take for her to realize that you have this temp pad and you can go anywhere you want, but you can't go back to your home because they deleted it? You'll never see your mother again. You'll never see your father again. You'll never see your family again. And whatever version of them that you did have, by the time you realize the severity of the situation, you couldn't even remember. You were so hell-bent on getting home, because I'm sure her mission at first was getting home.
Exactly.
That was the mission, until she found out that, in fact, the TVA reset her timeline, which means they deleted her existence. Then the mission became, I want to take down the TVA because they destroyed my home. And I think that's why the symbol of Asgard, even though she never explicitly said those words, we got it from the fourth episode, or from this episode. We got it from this episode. But that's why the destruction of Asgard has been something that we've seen so much throughout all of these episodes. Even in this episode, when classic Loki regenerated Asgard, that is their home. That is where they want to be. That's what they want. That, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they want their home back, whether it's our Loki, her Loki, classic Loki. They want to go home, and they can't. None of them can.
Right.
They'll never be able to go home again. But that man was able to conjure up his home to the deepest detail.
Yes.
Tell me he don't love. Tell me he don't have no heart. Tell me it's people that can come home right now and don't remember how to walk up the stairs in the dark. He was able to conjure his whole land from castle to bridge to everything because of the love he had for his home. And that's amazing. I'm sorry. That
scene alone was like epic. That was epic. I mean, because Sylvie and Loki are getting ready to enchant the beast, and we see out of nowhere classic Loki start to raise up Asgard out of nothing. Like, that was dope. That was super dope. I just, like I said, I was not expecting it. Was definitely not not only not expecting it, but just like not expecting, that Loki of all people to help even further as much as they was already helping. And it was just epic. It was just epic.
Yeah, I mean, but think about it. Our Loki lost his home in a legitimate fight with a legitimate bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. But all of those Lokis were pruned, which means their timelines were reset, which means all their moms are gone. All their fathers are gone. All their friends are gone. Everything they know is gone. And they can never go back to whatever. And who knows how long they lived there. Like Kid Loki, Sylvie, they were young when their timelines were reset. But these people lived their lives in their homes for years and years and years and years because they older than all of us. And they can never go back. Not because they can't go back, but because it's literally gone.
Indeed.
It's sad. And even our Loki lost his home and it didn't get reset, but he still don't have no home to go to. No mama, no daddy. And that's crazy because he still got Thor theoretically, but Thor don't have him. Right. So even though they lost all of their family members, Thor lost him, even though his timeline didn't get reset. It might as well have, because his whole family dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the aspect of thinking about, like you said, the resets is crazy because not only have they lost their homes, they lost their timeline, but not being the part of not being able to just go back or not being able to find the people that you love that's the crazy part, because that they're gone. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
That drives you mad.
That would. I mean, why would you change? Why would you be different? And I mean, they pruned, so they dead anyway. They in purgatory, paying for their sins every day. That is so beautiful.
That's basically what it
Look at that, man. Mm-hmm. That's love. Tell me that ain't love. He was able to. How long when you think the last time he was home?
Shoot, for him it had to have been a couple of thousands of years.
Every detail, every place. We didn't all seen that before. We all know how beautiful Asgard is. That's amazing. That's amazing on so many levels, not just on like a superhero level, not just on like a magic level, not just on like a comic book epic TV moment, just like from a just downright just love standpoint. Like, he was down for his people. Right. To remember, because that's all he got. That's all he got to hold on to. Mm-hmm. And that's what's been keeping him going. That vision of what he remembered. That's what he holds on to. And that's why he was able to bring it back to life as if it was a real.
Exactly. As if it was just another day in Asgard.
Mm-hmm. That shit was sweet, man.
So we got to see that. The heartbreaking scene of him getting eaten by Alioth. The question is, did he really get eaten by Alioth, or did he project himself?
Well, because that's what I was wondering. I was like, well, maybe he's tired and that's why he can't just teleport himself out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. He did just reproject a whole damn huge ass city. That would make him pretty tired. He probably hasn't used magic like that in a very long time.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I think he did, child. I think
when those horns hit the ground, I was like, dang.
I think he out of here. I think he out of here.
Yeah. So was epic though. That was epic. Sylvie and Loki, they get it together. They bring their powers together. They enchant Elias, and then we get seeing the Citadel of Power.
Oh, that's what that was called.
Yeah, the Citadel
Okay.
at the end of time. Yeah.
I was like, that looked like a
So,
damn cat. What is this, Disneyland?
I know. Yeah, it was.
I was
It was like a. I was like, not another castle.
like, now what the? How
So,
the hell they gonna get over there? That's
right.
what
I'm sure it's gonna be another BS convenience stroll.
I'm like. It don't even look like they can. Like, do they step into the abyss and start to float towards it? Like, I'm like, how do they get
Right.
there? Like, does not look like it's
yeah. I mean, but then again, if they're just doing enchantments, right? Maybe they'll be able to just pop in.
Because Loki can fly, can't he?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I feel like I've seen him fly before.
Like Loki. I was, for some reason, I thought Loki had a lot more powers than he really has.
Well, he did say, I think we a lot stronger than we think we are. And then in the same breath, she said, we gonna enchant. And I can't. Boy, yes, you can. Right. You just said, okay, Loki. Close your eyes and hold Sylvie's hand and just follow her into the abyss, because you will follow her into the abyss right about now.
Right. True that.
Oh man, but no. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. It was very enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I did already watch the last episode. Yes. We will discuss that next week.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. Couple of things I wanted to point out. There was quite a few Easter eggs throughout that episode, littered all over the ground as they went through the void. Couple of things that some people pointed out were there was a Sphinx in the void that had actually had a nose. There was the Thanos copter. If you missed that one, that was that was in the void. What else was it?
They had a Avengers tower, like
there was another Easter egg somebody picked up, that the Avengers tower that was destroyed had the letters QENG, Kang, on it. Which is in reference to the Avengers tower eventually being sold to a guy named Nathaniel Richards. So we'll talk about Nathaniel Richards next week.
Okay.
And the Kang company. So yeah, that was interesting that they picked up that, people be analyzing this thing down to the frame. So I
mean, because I didn't see none of that. I thought I saw a Star Trek ship in there, but
there was a Star Trek saucer section that was stuck in.
Okay, thank you. I knew I wasn't tripping. Okay, good job, me. Yay. Okay, I'll be seeing stuff too.
There was some statue heads that nobody's has identified yet. There was I think I have it here. They look like, I don't know if this is the Golden Gate Bridge or if it's the
it definitely was Golden Gate Bridge in there. Yeah. I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's definitely that.
Once again, like, he's driving around, he sees people while he's in the car. I'm like, really? Like, bro.
Like,
how are you seeing these people as you're driving around?
Like
Golden Gate Bridge. And then let me see if I can find the Thanos copter. Oh yeah, there it is. So many Easter eggs.
I don't know. I just saw the Star Trek thing. I didn't, and I thought I was tripping, so I didn't even acknowledge it. I just said, Siobhan, that is not. That's not bad. Why would they put that in there? This is Marvel. I was
like, right. So so over here on the right, you can see it just in the distance.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, the Thanos copter.
Yeah. So what's that next to it?
Some kind of warhead that I guess didn't go off somewhere.
It looked like a fish almost.
And then those crazy birds.
Yeah, like those were weird. They must have been from Alabama 2077 or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. Right, I think so. Something was going on with those birds.
Oh man,
That was crazy.
yeah,
But
that
yeah,
was
there
crazy.
was, there was a lot going on with the Easter eggs in this episode. There were so many. That's the one big thing about Loki. This whole series has been full of callbacks, Easter eggs, and things of that nature. So lots to peel back and analyze if you really want to get into
If
it.
you really want to, but I mean, like, I just want to watch the show. I
Yeah.
just want to watch it and enjoy it as a show. Speaking of that, Mar- Marvel cleaned up at the Emmys. They
Yes.
Marvel and Disney actually. The Mandalorian and WandaVision are the most nominated shows in the Emmys. Like they have the most nominations. Let me see if I can pull it
I
up
think it's
real quick.
25 for WandaVision, and is it 20? Can't remember how many it was for
Dang, I
Mandalorian.
can't
Mandalorian's
find
got a
it
lot.
now. Oh, here we go. Oh no. That's just by network. Networks. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let me see if I can find it. Conveniently, I can't find it now because I'm looking for it. If I wasn't looking for it, I'd be able to find it.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
so
down by studio. Disney has
yeah.
106 nominations. HBO Max has 130. Netflix has 129.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they definitely are.
But Falcon and the Winter Soldier were nominated. Mandalorian, WandaVision. Yeah. I mean, hey, WandaVision was great. It was a great
Yeah.
show, and it came right on time because it dealt with grief, and it was during a pandemic where
Mm-hmm.
people were losing people every day. So sometimes when I know somebody going through something, I tell them to go watch that show. Because it's really that woman was dealing with the loss that she had to watch twice. So I mean, it's a very powerful show.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah, it says
23
here that they got
nominations.
23 nominations, including Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series for WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, they got to start giving Marvel their props, man. They hire good actors, they write good stories. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's a superhero show, but I mean, the acting alone is very well done. I mean, you can't deny that. Just because it's a superhero doesn't mean it should be denied. For what they're doing as writers, making these stories make sense, making a 10-year story come together like that. I mean, can they just win awards for that? Like they are so meticulous in the way they do stuff. It's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Don Cheadle got nominated for one. He don't know why because he was only in like half of the episode, but
He got nominated for an Emmy?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, he did.
Wow. He literally was only in there for like 10 minutes in the first episode and like 5 minutes in one other episode. That was it.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird.
but it's also Don Cheadle. So.
I don't think it has more than the Mandalorian. I think Mandalorian has like 28.
Mandalorian. But it also depends um, on what the nominations are for, right? Because certain things you're going to get nominated for the other things are not going to have, because like
Yeah,
talking to Winter Soldier is not going to get a nomination for their special effects, right? Because they didn't have a lot of special effects. They had more
right.
practical effects than
Yeah,
special effects. They're not going to get it for lighting and cinematography, stuff like that. Like a Mandalorian would. So there's gonna be huge differences in what you can be nominated for.
yeah,
So they had
24.
they had 24. They beat out the WandaVision by one nomination. So
Look
So
at
don't
that
worry,
little
don't worry. They
Grogu.
didn't go crazy. They didn't go totally crazy.
Look at that little Grogu. That's a good picture of him.
Grogu is so cool, so cute.
So cute. I don't like his name, so I still call him Baby Yoda. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I think they could have gave him a better name for sure. For sure.
so you
I don't know
remember
what
that
made them settle on Grogu, but
right. You remember that versus battle I was talking to you about the last time we streamed?
mm-hmm.
So it ended up coming down to Thanos versus Loki.
Oh
Go.
yes, yeah, I saw that.
Who was
Well,
your
who put that out again?
Rotten Tomatoes?
That was
Who's
right.
your answer? Don't pull it up. Who's your answer first?
Between
Thanos and Loki. Best villain.
I mean, now I would say Loki only because of what I've seen him go through and what he's evolved from. Knowing what I know now, it would have to be Loki. You know what I mean? If you'd asked me this weeks ago when we first started watching this or before the show came out, it would have hands down been Thanos, right? Because I think that he has this air about him where he wanted to do what's right, but he took it too far. He also had this power that was like a quiet power, right? Like, you know, like you said, he tried his best to kind of stay hands off as he just delegated people to go get these Infinity Stones. But then it was like, you know what?
I guess I gotta do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just like, just his whole the whole, you know, air about him was just super cool. You know what I mean? So I just appreciated Thanos a lot more than any other supervillain out there. But yeah, I think that now that I've seen Loki fully evolve and all these different opportunities that he had to be just this, you know, broken person, I'm even more impressed by Loki and would give it to Loki because of that.
Well, the world gave it to him as well. He won. I didn't vote for him though because I don't consider him a villain anymore. I voted for Thanos because Thanos died a bad guy to me.
Yeah, he was a true supervillain, right? In terms of he never really grew out of his supervillainy.
No, he died a bad guy to me at least. I
Yeah.
mean, technically, even though Tony Stark killed himself, it's his fault.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's his fault. And I mean, Black Widow technically killed herself, but it's his fault.
Right.
It's all his fault. Technically, he didn't kill anyone else. I mean, not that was important.
There was some other news I think you had posted about. There was what was it? It was something about, was it with Hawkeye? The Hawkeye series.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Hawkeye series. Somebody is gonna be on there, and I can't remember now. I can't remember now who's gonna be.
So there's
on
news
the
about
show.
that. I know that the we have a couple of new shows coming up, including What If.
The trailer dropped last week.
Yeah, the trailer for What If dropped. That looks epic.
Yes, it does.
There's what they call it, a couple of articles about, you know, what's going on with the new Black Panther movie. It's been
script been rewritten 5 times.
Yeah, been rewritten 5 times. Yeah, so that was interesting. I didn't read the article fully, but it's interesting that they're definitely pulling out all the stops to make this the best movie they can. I think the next things we have coming up is What If. We have what's her name? Black Widow's just released last Friday or last Thursday.
I enjoyed it.
So I watched it at home. I got the Premiere Plus or Premiere Access package from Disney.
Me as well.
Watch it at home.
I just want to ask you a question about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
the first like 10 minutes of the movie, was you in a panic? Did you feel like you was panicky? Like, because I did. Like, I didn't know what the hell was happening, but I feel like they did a good job of making you feel like, oh my God, okay, okay, they gotta get out of here. Oh my God, I don't know who the hell none of these people are, but oh my God, we gotta get them out.
Not as in a meltdown as Loki felt in episode 5, but pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. Because it was just like you didn't know who they were really running from. You had an idea, but they weren't showing who they were really, until like all of a sudden stuff started really happening, and then it seemed like just a normal family life thing going on at the moment, when they were showing the very beginning, the first 3 or 4 minutes. And that's why my sister, when she said that she watched the first 10 minutes and didn't like it and gave up.
Well, I mean, I could see why a person would say that, because who the hell are these people? What the hell is going on? I don't get it. But I think that for me, they did a good job of keeping me involved.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because I didn't even know which one was Natasha or not. Because I was confused.
I didn't either. I was totally confused by that. Yeah, I just knew she was the little girl. That was the thing.
Yeah, I was so confused. I only knew who Hopper was and Rachel Weisz was, and I was like, I thought they was Russian. What the hell is going on? Is this Americans? What are we doing? So then,
yeah,
I feel like they did a good job of keeping that like, oh my God, okay. Oh my goodness, get wear your shoes, that little girl. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Okay. Oh wow, America. Oh my God. Okay. And I feel like they did a good job of like keeping you like on your toes. Like, I don't know who these people are. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know why, but I want them to be and do whatever they need to do to survive. Like, whatever. Exactly. That whole first 15 minutes for me was just like,
yeah, that's why I understand how my sister didn't like that first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie, because I was like, it was awesome to me. It started off with a bang. Like it did about 3 minutes of story setup, and it was just like a go from there.
I feel like they took, especially after everything that happened and the girls went where they went, they took that one scene from whichever Marvel movie that was, where she had a flashback after she was talking about kids, of basically like not being able to have kids, because that's what they do to those women who Red Sparrows or Black Widows, so they call them in Marvel. You know what I'm saying? They took that dramatic scene of just that one moment that hit us like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Because you forget, like, her character, like I tell everybody when I talk about Black Widow, her character was like the character you thought was always going to be there. So you never really gave her too much thoughts. Like, she was a woman, so she was cool. But then for me, as a Black woman, when Wakanda came, it was like, okay, girl, you're great, but like, I got a Okoye now. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, like, like, but you still, girl, you go ahead. You was the first girl in the whoop whoop. But girl, okay, yeah, and because she doesn't have powers, you know what I'm saying? They didn't pay enough. They gave her screen time or whatever, but her life was a secret for a reason. So we didn't get to know who she was. So that one moment when she was like falling in love with Bruce Banner, where, she started thinking about a life outside of the life she's known that we don't know anything about, you see this moment of her being in a room and basically alluding to the not being able to have kids. I think they took that dramatic scene and created like this 10-minute just terrible depiction and jaw-dropping like scene of her life and what she went through for the better part of her childhood, which made her be so standoffish and made her be so to herself and closed in. And to me, the movie showed why she did what she did in Endgame at the end of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
This is why she sacrificed herself, because things changed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think they did a really good job with that movie. And I don't know, somebody told me they compared it to Captain Marvel, and it was just like, really? Like,
yeah, to me it was way better than Captain Marvel. Way better.
Yeah, it was. Somebody said it was just a little bit better than 1984. And I was like, really?
They lied.
No, that movie was good. It was a
way better
blockbuster
than Wonder
movie.
Woman 84. Way better.
Way better.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple people have asked me like what's the comparison? I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you want to compare it to like a Wonder Woman Part 1, then then you're kind of like, I don't
It was
know.
just as good as the last Spider-Man movie. And that's how I'm gonna put it. It was just as good as the last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, it's on the list. It's definitely on the list.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you talk about the worst Marvel movies, you know the worst Marvel movies.
Thor 2.
But when you're talking about the best ones, especially when you go, let's do a top 10 or a top 15, it gets hard because then you're like, you can pick your top, but then you're also gonna always have that alternate that's like, well, this is my top 3, but these also could be in my top 3, and then this could be in my top 10, but these also could be in my top 10 because they're all these movies are just so well written, well structured, well acted, So there's, and then the action and most of them is really top notch. So it gets hard, and this is one of those movies that sits in that top 15 where it'll be hard to place it in that bottom 7 or 8, So it's like, you could put it in different areas just depending on what you were looking for or what you wanted out of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just think the only thing they messed up is they really should have put that movie out between Civil War and Infinity War, because it didn't matter what you did, the stakes were too high. Because we know she don't die here. She does not die here. So it doesn't matter what you do. I'm never gonna feel the sense of panic that I would have felt if y'all had put this out after Civil War.
That movie would have been epic had it been put out between Civil War and Infinity War. It would have been epic. Even if they would have put it out immediately after Infinity War, really.
Yeah.
To be honest. They could have put it out. They could have waited until after Infinity War and then been like, oh, but meanwhile, between here and here, because it would have hit a little harder, I think.
Yeah, her character would have been missed a lot more.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I honestly didn't cry, I didn't get sad, I didn't get upset when Black Widow died. And
I did.
I didn't feel it because, like you mentioned, we didn't have a lot of information on her. We knew her from what we saw, but she wasn't like I didn't have like this whole thing where it was just like this emotional tie. And when she died, it was just like even the death scene to me, because of the fact that she chose to just throw herself down there, I was just like, okay, that's messed up.
I guess for me, from a woman's standpoint, it's like she was the only woman in the room with these men for so long, and that energy, they needed that. And I felt bad about them losing her, not only not knowing her, but the only person who really felt like they did. I was hurt for Hawkeye because that was his friend.
Oh yeah, that was
that was his Ace Boon Coon. Mm-hmm. He knew stuff about her. He knew. I mean, I don't think he knew as much as he thought he did about her. Right. But it was just it. And also, to me, it was sad to see a character that you watched and not realize the importance or significance of them until that moment. And I think that's why her death was sad to me, is because it's a disservice. They did a disservice to her character because I didn't realize that I even paid attention. I liked her because it was Scarlett Johansson. I'm sorry, if it was another actress, I probably wouldn't pay no attention to her. But Scarlett Johansson is that bitch, okay? That's Scarlett Joe. I mean, okay, that's Scarlett Johansson. She is the one and the two, okay? Right. So with that being said, I'm here for Scarlett Johansson. So I don't want Scarlett Johansson to not be in the movies no more. Right. But from a standpoint of a character,
so it was more the sadness of knowing she was going away.
No, it was a sadness of like them not doing the only female Avengers, the first female Avenger from the movie standpoint.
Right.
Character justice. And giving her a backhanded movie, because this movie was an afterthought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's right. You give Captain Marvel a movie and the fans don't think you gave her justice, but then you give Black Widow a really good movie and you put it out at the wrong time, so the fans still don't think you gave her any justice.
Right. Yeah, true that. I without giving anything away, I did feel the sadness at the end of of Black Widow movie, knowing now what I know about her, when she went through, as well as all the stuff that connected these movies all together from her standpoint, from her viewpoint. It was like, it didn't hit me. It hit me then.
And I was just a crying.
Yeah, I was very sad, knowing now
that she's
gone. And then, there was, like you said, when it comes to high stakes, right? Knowing that just about every character comes back, watching her throw herself down in Endgame, I just felt like she'll be back. Now, what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. doing Tony Stark, and when he died during that part, that felt so final. I don't know why it felt more final than
I figured by the end of the movie they would have figured out a way to bring her back. And I kind of was pissed off when they had his funeral, and when they finally kind of realized they couldn't bring her back, and it was just like, well, how do we plan a funeral? What do we do? And then it just went like, they did her character such a disservice. And being that she was so pivotal to the team as the only woman for so long, and also as the organizer, she took care of them in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like they did her so dirty. They did her so dirty. And I think when she did die, I realized the importance of her character and how pivotal she was to the Avengers, and how it's a shame that we didn't know enough about her life, and nobody took the time enough to really try to dig deep and try to learn more about her life. That when she died, nobody even knew what to do with the body.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Not even what to do, but who to call.
Exactly. And that's sad. That's sad from her perspective, that she never still felt comfortable enough with them to give them that information or to be that close with them, even though she considered them family. But it's also sad that they just let it fall by the wayside. But that goes to show you that's why she was there. She's the woman. She got shit done. They are idiots.
Yeah.
No
Indeed. Indeed. Well, it's been a great show. Definitely looking forward to talking about the final episode of Loki next week. We'll definitely be doing a Black Widow recap and review. So we'll definitely do that maybe next week or a week after next, rather, and then talk about that. But man, this last episode of Loki, something else. Lots to unpack there. So we'll definitely do that next week. Tell them where they can find you at.
You can find me over here on Twitch at Chevy the Superstar. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. we will be talking about the disgustingly terrible movie Green Lantern. We're talking about blockbuster films, and we wanted to take a deep dive in the sign of the blockbuster films that don't make any money, the flopbuster films. So we'll be talking about Green Lantern. I realized that what is his name? Taika Waititi is in that movie, and I had no idea. Follow me on Instagram at the Superstar.
Oh, speaking of Taika Waititi and Ryan Reynolds, they just did a reaction video, a reaction spoof of the Free Guy movie, which interestingly enough stars Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi, but they did it in their characters and their MCU characters. Now Deadpool is now semi-officially, but we know officially in the MCU as Deadpool, and then Taika Waititi as Korg. So as the rock creature Korg. So they did that in their characters, and that was dope. It was funny.
It definitely was. And it was so funny. The day I watched that video is the day I watched Green Lantern and realized, I had no idea he was in that movie.
We had no idea who Taika Waititi was.
That's true. But he is also another one who has crossed over and did both, like Angela Bassett and Damon Hansu.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. There's a lot of if you go back and look at a lot of actors, it's quite a few. It's quite a few that have done multiple superhero movies and then have done both DC and Marvel. So yeah, it's interesting. Start connecting the dots.
Yes.
So yeah. So yep. You can get at me. Where am I at? It's your boy Willie Stylez in the building. Get at me everywhere, Willie Stylez, on IG, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm at willie.stylez on Snapchat. You can visit me over at stylesradio.com for the hot tracks that I'm listening to. I don't have a show tomorrow. We're going to be doing Fans Perspective tomorrow at 10 p.m. So I'm going to be doing Stylez Radio next week. And then get at me at williestyles.info for all my links. Been a great show.
Yes.
And I'll talk to you in a second. And for everybody else, we will see y'all next week.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D, 1/3 of the podcast GFT Radio Show.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Stylez from the GFT Radio Show. Just letting you know you can catch us every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern.
And get some merch. I got some on right now. Go to teesprings.com/stores/GFT Radio.
Grown Folk Talk Radio. Join the conversation. Let's have some fun. Holla.